Hello everybody, how are you going? Well, welcome to Mary Bonnie Baker on What's My Line, inspired directly from the Heritage Minute that has previously come out that I've seen, and I just wanted to come directly back to the source and go, what was the entire thing based on?
Time now to enjoy What's My Line.
What's My Line? Here we go. What is going to be? There's the panel.
And now let's meet our What's My Line panel of well-known personalities whose lines you already know. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in the New York Journal American and papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Really? Okay, let's start with
And on my left, the distinguished publisher of Random House and Landmark books, Bennett Cerf.
On
my left, an irresistible and versatile girl who jumps right from the What's My Line panel show to the drama Suspense on Tuesday night, Miss Arlene Francis.
And on my left, the dimpled gentleman whose face beams out at you this week on TV Guide, Hal Block.
just like that.
Thank you, Arlene. So does all of you. And on my left is a man whose views of the news could blow a hot fuse. Our master of ceremonies, John Daly.
Oh, who's that? As I don't remember there being anyone else besides the original four in the Heritage Minute, but I did like it from the start. We're getting so much more context, just going, okay, it's actually really cool that they introduce each other going, and it's actually a nice thing. They're not giving each other slack or get a stick or anything like that. But what I did not know, and I don't believe the Heritage Minute touched on, is the fact that I always presumed that these were just civilians that had to try and guess who she was. And that was always a weird thing, because I was going, surely someone amongst them eventually is just going to know exactly who that person is. But when you actually have stars, celebrities in their own right, whatever you want to be calling them, they then can play into the whole thing and just ask them more questions that people generally probably wouldn't be asking as much and get away with it as well. And it turns into more of a comedy situation instead of just a competition situation. And especially for the audience as well, to only be having a handful of people where you don't need to give the entire backstory of every single civilian every single week, whether they just have 4 or maybe they have 10 and they rotate through them. However they play it, it's not just random civilians that everyone has to try and be invested in for 30 minutes. They actually know these people, and TV works better like that.
Thank you, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to What's My Line, presented by Stopette. Once again tonight, we've got some nice people as our guests who have various types of occupations, some of them we hope very much unexpected as far as the panel is concerned.
Right.
And they're all here to give the panel a run for the money, to carry wholesome prices. We'll also have a famous guest challenger before the panel a bit later in the program, but now it's time for the experts to meet our first challenger whose job they've got to spot. So would you sign in, please, ma'am? Bonnie Baker.
Sorry, I'm just frozen in disbelief at that chalk handwriting. That is insane. I know people practice certain calligraphy and the actual font styling a lot more than people do these days, especially with all the typing that is now obviously just everywhere. That was the most beautiful handwriting and effortless. Like, that is what you see in oddly satisfying, or not even just oddly satisfying, but just straight up satisfying videos. That is outrageous. Just the way that's so effortless on the chalk. And I do wonder, is it even chalk? I mean, it looks like chalk, but it almost looks like wet. Like, they must have wet it or something. I just don't see how you could have it be that slidey and that fat and that easy to do. That's insane. My goodness. But coming back to what he was talking about, once again, I'm just getting so much context surrounding this entire show as a premise. So obviously they have multiple people. I thought it was just one person, but no, it's a whole segment. And it's weird because I thought they said that later on in the show we'll have a celebrity on, but then is Bonnie Baker not a celebrity in her own right? Are they all somewhat celebrities, but then you just have A-list celebrities and B and C-list celebrities? Is it anything like that? Are they trying to trick people? No idea. Whatever it is, I am here for it, as honestly, it's just simple TV that I reckon would still work to this day. It might be a little bit more difficult because of social media and just knowing more people, like in that regard, being exposed to more people more easily, but realistically, it's just not reality garbage, and that's fantastic. I just needed to also watch this again. Look at it! It's crazy. I would understand ink, but on chalk?
Bonnie Baker.
Crazy.
or Mrs.?
It's Mrs.
Mrs. Baker. Where are you from, Mrs. Baker?
I'm from Regina, Canada.
Regina, that's up in Saskatchewan
That's
country,
right.
isn't it? Well, for heaven's sake. Well, then there's some people over there that I know you want to see a little closer on. They want to see a little more of you. So would you be good enough to walk down in front of the
Certainly
panel
will,
for me?
John.
Thank you.
Here
Mrs. Baker.
we go. Right. A bit of a catwalk.
Mrs. Baker, will you come over here and sit down with me? And now, on the basis of your handwriting, what you said, how you said it, where you come from, and that walk that you took down in front of the panel, at this point, we always give them a free guess as to what your line may be. We
Just
begin
like
the free
that.
guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
Oh no, just like that, they already have to guess just from the handwriting. I mean, from the handwriting, I would say, I don't know, someone that is that proficient in writing on a chalkboard. I feel like even for the time, surely not many people were writing on chalk. Yes, like I said, if you're writing with pen, and obviously way before that, and quills and everything, that's almost kind of the stylistic that it had, was just some Hollywood quill style. But realistically, I would just have to say you're either a sign writer or you're a teacher that spends all day writing on chalkboards and just has a very, I guess, nuanced handwriting style, or not, I guess it wouldn't be nuanced for the time, but a very, very particularly fantastic handwriting style and font that you have created. But other than that, I would have no idea. Just from where you are, I mean, the context of the location doesn't really mean anything, I don't think. I mean, you're from Canada. I mean, the exact location as a job title surely doesn't give you much.
I think she makes knitwear.
Mr.
Makes
Sir.
knitwear.
I think she has all the outstanding features of a model for sweaters.
Miss Brent.
I think she sells those wonderful Hudson Bay blankets from Canada.
Mr. Block.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about the baker, but this is quite a sweet cookie.
That's true. But nobody has guessed the line of Mrs. Baker, and so we let our viewers at home have a further look at Mrs. Bonnie Baker, and at the same time, panel will tell them what her line is. But you're going to have to dig.
Here we go.
You're going to
So-
have to dig. Now, Mr. Baker.
The viewers at wait, what? I'm just trying to catch up with everything that and the structure of the entire show. So they said the viewers at home get a good look at her, but then they also then immediately revealed, what, 2 seconds later, just the entire thing. They went, okay, and here it is, professional baseball player. And I guess then everyone can play along and understand. I do now wonder, do the panel know and they're playing along or not? Either way, clearly everyone was just quite surprised to see that professional baseball player come up on the screen, and I guess, to be fair, that makes sense, especially when you have knitwear, Hudson Bay blankets, bakers because of her name and everything like that. To go a bit left field and just go into professional baseball player, I can understand.
We let our viewers at home have a further look at Mrs. Bonnie Baker, and at the same time, panel will tell them what her line is. But you're going to have to dig. You're going to have to dig. Now, Mr. Baker, this is the way things work. Every time you give them a no answer, it costs the panel $5. We keep the record right up here.
$5,
We're going to make a lot of money.
decent.
10 no's are $50, and you have won the game. Give them one more
$50.
bit of help. Mrs. Baker is salaried. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Hal Block.
Oh, you doll. Do you deal in services, Miss Baker?
Yes, I do.
Do people come to you?
Yes, they do.
Do you entertain them at all?
Yes.
You do? Do you do your work in front of an audience?
Yes, I do.
Are there ever men in the audience?
Quite a few.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Could I ever possibly? Well, let's see what next. Could, are there many people that do what you do in your work?
Yes.
Really? I feel like, especially for the time, you'd say no to that. I mean, it's not 2 people, but it's also not hundreds. It's not going to be like the construction industry, you're not an accountant or anything like that. You know, there's not going to be a massive amount of people that do it. I mean, I guess if you're saying, I play baseball, but even then you're a professional baseball player and you cannot be sitting here and saying that there's hundreds of thousands of professional baseball players. There's plenty of people that may play, but not many people that actually get play for it, especially in the women's league, of course, as well. And so how can you just be sitting there and going, yes, I mean, just watching his brain tick over, and I still want to know, do they have any kind of inkling? Do they get worded up roughly? And so they're getting fed some questions to make the entire thing. You're making a TV show and it makes for good TV, like I said, but still just watching his brain tick as he just reads off these questions that he's dreaming up. especially straight off the bat, to be going, do you perform? Are there men in the audience? Are there this? Are there that? You can just see how the entire thing's already being steered.
Do you by any chance do anything physical?
Yes.
Do you move your body at all?
Uh-huh.
You do? Yeah.
Kind of the physical is, mister.
You have to be in good shape?
Yeah.
Do you
When does he
by
guess?
any chance wear a special costume?
Mm-hmm.
Costume.
Is it ever kind of short?
Yes.
See, this is what I mean. I feel like every single one of those questions has been designed, whether by him or by some producers, just to be trying to get a certain reaction and a certain image in your mind. Like they're saying, do you wear a costume? Not an outfit, not a uniform or anything like that, just a special costume. And is it kind of short and all those kind of things, especially for the time. I can't exactly remember when this was. I guess it was during World War II, I believe. And I'm also now wondering if they each have their own, I guess you could call it, style of questions that they ask. Does he always ask and try and allude to certain things? And as they go down the line, will we discover more things, or will they just switch it up on us?
Is it ever kind of short?
Yes.
Look at him, he's beside himself.
In the course of your work, you ever take part of the costume off?
Yes.
Mate needs to just sit down and have a guess and move on, I think.
You're the expert. Is there ever any music playing for your work?
Yes.
Yes?
Do you ever hold anything in your hand?
See? How is this allowed on TV back then? I feel like everything I've ever heard, it was very formalized TV, and maybe this is late night TV perhaps, and that's how they're more getting away with it, as I can only presume that entire thing has been around. But even then, he's not saying directly to the point, but my goodness, is he alluding to a lot, and I'm wondering, when is he going to guess? I thought they were just going to get free guesses. I thought he said free, not 3. Either way, they're going to be losing $5 at this rate, because he's got his mind in the gutter, and as much as they're kind of asking all the correct questions, I don't think he'll be able to just go, oh yes, baseball, instead of a whole host of other things.
Do you ever hold it in front of you?
What? What are you thinking? Come on, tell us.
Lower the boom, Clancy. I'll be home early tonight. Well, if the bubble should break, would you be embarrassed?
If the what?
Well, if the bubble should break, would you be embarrassed?
If the bubble should break, would you be embarrassed? I have no idea what that means. Please, let me know.
No, I think we'll have to give him a no. He's presuming the presence of the bubble.
You're not a dancer?
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Presuming the presence of a dancer? Wait, what's the bubble and a dancer? I have no idea what he's on about, but either way, they have obviously lost or made, depending on which way around, $5, and that's decent money, you know, it's 1940s.
Just to go back a little, Miss Baker, may we assume that you are not a fan dancer? No.
Yes, you may assume that
Like a...
Mrs. Baker is not a fan dancer.
You perform on a stage. Do you
Beg your pardon?
Do you perform on a stage? No.
That would be 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Stern.
Oh, I've only just now realized how the entire 5, 10, 15, I can only presume thing works. I was, I guess, assuming that it was every time they guessed her profession wrong, but it's actually every time they get a no to their answer, or the no answer to their question. And so no wonder, if you're just going to be getting yeses to every single one of your questions, you are just going to continue to dive deeper and deeper down that rabbit hole, because I guess better the devil you know. If you're going, oh man, is the bubble, is the this, is the costume short, all those kind of things, do you take it off? He was certainly had his head in the gutter, but he also doesn't want to lose his money, or I guess give her money as part of the game show. And so now that I just glean a bit more context, it all makes sense. It's almost kind of like Guess Who, I guess.
Hey, where can she do this?
Does physical conditioning count heavily in what you do?
Yes.
You have to be in good condition?
Yes.
Would it be any form of sport or athletic endeavor in
Oh,
which you...
he's onto it.
Yes.
Would it be something that is done particularly well in Canada?
No, I wouldn't say.
Oh, just like that. Oh, is he? I guess he must be thinking of ice hockey, or what else would he be thinking of? Either way, he's clearly onto it to some degree, and that was a major mental shift from being a dancer to now going all the way into a sporting endeavor. Everyone just went and pulled all their minds out of the gutter and straight back on track. And so it's kind of just a layup for the next lady. She can just come in, probably answer one question if the producers want her to, and just go straight through it. I don't know how much she'll walk away with, but it's just right there. Surely there's not that many sports when you have an implement that is held in front of you with a costume that you take off, being a mask or hopefully something like that, and that is played in Canada, but not particularly well. Like, it's just a generic sport. I mean, cricket, I guess, of the time, baseball. What else would you have? There's not many. Tennis? I don't know. There's not too many. You could just start rattling off guesses.
7 to go, Miss Francis.
I did understand you to say that this was part of the entertainment business, though,
That's
what
right.
you do. So that while
sport,
it has a sporty aspect to it,
No,
it is
don't
not
be misled,
considered a
Miss
sport.
Harley. We are including the general area of sports
In the
in
entertainment
the
business.
entertainment business to the
Okay.
degree that people go and get pleasure out of watching the sport.
I see.
That's
Well, then,
a fine
may I
clarification.
consider that this is a sport?
Yes.
This is a sport. And you don't wear very much of a costume for this sport.
No.
You say. And is it done outdoors, this sport?
Yes.
Yes.
And I think it's only fair to warn the costume is adequate to its needs.
Yes. Oh, well,
Yes, this guy, Mr. Daly, is the king of just context, as he is providing and really just steering the ship back on course, like he even said. Now, don't get confused. Sports also do count as the entire entertainment category in the form of people go to them to have pleasure, is I believe something of the sort of what he said, and then even just then going, hang on a second. Stop trying to just read between the lines. It is what it is, and it isn't what it isn't. It is nothing in between. It is a sport, it is played outdoors, and the costume is adequate to the design specifications that are required. It isn't skimpy, it isn't anything like that. It just is what it is. You don't need excess clothing because you're not in -5.
And I think it's only fair to warn the costume is adequate to its needs.
yes. Oh, well, better what you ever thought, Mr. Daly, of course. Is it ever performed inside at all?
No.
That would make it 4 down and
Really?
6 to go, Mr.
Never.
Block.
I feel like that is a major thing that has changed. I guess it's not inside. I'm thinking in arenas instead of outdoors in just random fields and parks. To be fair, I think there are now some large-scale indoor stadiums because I feel as though I've seen clips of baseballs hitting roofs or getting lodged up there. But I guess for the time, it's all just going to be played outdoors in the sunshine, in the snow, I guess, in the whatever it is. It's not going to have a roof over it. Come on now. Oh, he's still stuck back in the skippy dance.
This is a killer. Well, this is a sport. You hold something in your hand.
Yep,
Do you ever swing something?
that's tennis.
Yes.
He's thinking tennis.
Is there a ball connected with this?
Yes.
Yes. Come on, what's it gonna be?
And the thing is sometimes scanty? The thing that you wear is
It's
sometimes
not-
doesn't cover below
No.
your knee?
Now, this is just an issue of what you have in your own mind. The costume is adequate to its purposes. Let's put it that way.
The costume is adequate.
But you swing something, there's a ball attached.
Yeah.
Are you
Not
a
attached.
tennis player?
No.
There it is. Exactly what I knew he was going to be saying. He just couldn't think of anything else, or at least he's not being led. Just like that, $25. I guess, I don't know, is baseball going to be more popular than tennis today? Because I feel like tennis worldwide is a bigger sport. I get like worldwide, internationally, surely. I don't know, in the States, I feel like tennis is a big thing with the American Open and everything like that, but surely baseball is a bigger sport in the USA and in North America in general. But worldwide, I would say tennis. But then I guess taking into consideration the time period that this is tennis a bigger thing in the 1940s than baseball, especially maybe in regards to women's sport? Perhaps, I don't know. I feel like tennis has an older heritage. I could be wrong. And I know that it was it originally from the British, and then it ended up kind of swapping. Like cricket was a massive sport in North America at the same time that baseball was a big sport in the UK, and they kind of just went and flipped over, and it stayed that way. I feel like that's what I've heard.
This is something that's always played out of doors? Yes. Is this a game that I would ever be likely to have heard of? Pardon? Would I be likely to have heard of?
I'm sure.
Are you a member of a team?
Yes.
Is it a team with 9 people on it?
Yes.
Is it baseball? Are you a baseball player?
Yay! Just like that, it took a little bit to get there, but she got there. Oh my goodness. So I feel like she knew what it was, but she just had to be asking just a couple more questions, and I feel like that's living life on the edge. That's living life on $5, standing on the $5 note. Either way, she clearly got there in the end, and she even knew, is it a sport that I would know? And went on from there, going down to 9 players, and there's no way I would know how many players are on a baseball team. I don't know if that's a thing that is still played. I feel like there's more than that. Like visually, when I look at a pitch or a field in the quadrangle, I believe is what it's called, I'm visualizing more than 9 players, especially having bench as well. Or I guess when everyone's fielding, there's not going to be. But if you have a pitcher, the backstop, and then 1 on each base plate, and then everyone else, I feel like that's more than 9. I would say 11. Either way, clearly they got there in the end, and everyone shared around the love. Everyone steered each other along different ways, obviously starting with a particular flavor of questions I don't think helped anyone. I don't know if they always start with him, but just at least they managed to wrangle it back, and just Mr. Daly brought everyone back to earth.
Mrs. Baker, Bonnie Baker, is the second baseman with the Kalamazoo Lessons. Is
That's
that
right.
right? What league is that?
That is the American Girls Baseball League.
Yep.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, I must get more interest in baseball. Miss Kilgallen.
I certainly think Mrs. Baker is an argument for allowing women to play in the big leagues.
I would think so, too.
You know, as a matter of fact, when they decided they shouldn't play, they certainly pulled a bloomer.
Actually, one thing I think you'll all be interested in, they scheduled the game an hour early tonight, didn't they, in
That's right,
Kalamazoo?
Mr. Daly.
They made an announcement over the loudspeaker when the game said, everybody go home and see Bonnie on television.
What?
on
I hope
Watch My Life.
everybody's watching.
That's
Well, you
awesome.
get pretty...
Mrs. Baker.
Big fun.
What's your batting average?
Oh.
That's a very good question, Mr. Sir. You did very well
Oh,
on the line.
but she doesn't want to
Thanks very
say.
much for
Oh,
doing that.
just like that, she didn't want to say. Is it good or is it bad? I don't really even know what the batting averages should be. Is it should be 1? Is it should be 0.1? I have no idea. But she walked out of there, I think with $25. I don't know where that $25 goes or gets taken from. Either way, she obviously just wrapped it up beautifully. Everyone just had some fairly nice comments to say, a couple jokes thrown in there as well. Even just this gem that they moved the entire game, I guess the broadcast of the game, I don't know what it would be. I guess she wasn't playing in it clearly, but the entire game got moved forward an hour so that everyone that would be interested in the sport can go home and also be interested in this entire episode. That is fantastic, and that would never happen today. There was no way that an entire, I guess not the network didn't move it, but an entire league would move a game to accommodate for one person. That's outrageous. Maybe only like Messi and Ronaldo, but even then, it just wouldn't happen. There is too much investment, too many egos, and just not enough of this just perfect old school TV that everyone was able to have a laugh at. Everyone was able to have a joke at, and everyone just had a great time.